All right, guys, I believe we are live. Wanted to pop in here real quick between patients. I'm going to try and do a consistent post of any questions that I'm getting a lot from patients to take those questions and bring them into here for you guys as well. Because most likely, if they're having questions, you guys are having very similar questions. So I'm going to try and migrate those questions into here and address them. One question that I've been getting a lot, and I was talking to a couple of other physical therapists as well, is with regards to nutrition. And there's a lot of mistakes that can contribute nutritionally wise to injuries prolonging or injuries reoccurring. So I want to, talk about the top three nutritional mistakes that can lead to injuries, taking longer to recover than they should, or injuries reoccurring. So the number one thing is protein intake. Okay, if I had to choose one out of these three that I'm going to talk about, it'd probably be protein intake. That is the most important. All right, so a lot of times we actually had we've had quite a few patients last year that had recently switched to a vegan diet, and so what happened is they weren't consuming as much protein, and because they didn't, when you decrease meat consumption, that's usually a big source of people's protein intake. And so when you remove that, you have to, if you're switching to a vegan diet or vegetarian diet, you have to replace that with another protein source. Okay. And so that's a big piece, because if you're with strength training, if you're doing strength training and you're not getting the adequate protein that you need, it's your muscles aren't going to be able to repair themselves. Okay. And so a lot of times it's just when you go into the gym, you're lifting weights, so you're breaking down muscle. And the way that muscles get stronger and bigger is they over repair themselves, and they're able to do that by pulling from the protein sources that you're consuming. Okay, which makes you stronger and more resilient, and decreases the likelihood of injury. However, if you're not getting that protein, the protein that you need, then your body's not able to recover. And so every time that you go into the gym, you just keep breaking down muscle, and that's how injuries can pop up. So it's super important to make sure that you're getting the right amount of protein. So what is the appropriate protein that you need? So for general population, all right, for general population, people that are just the average person in the US should have 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram, or 0.35 grams per pound of body weight per day for general health. Okay, so for example, if a person weighs 165 pounds, they should consume on average 60 grams of protein per day. That is just for the average person. If you're very active, okay, you're going to want this to be even higher. Okay, because again, your body's working overtime and you're breaking down muscle more than the average person is. So you need to be able to consume more protein than the average person does to be able to repair, for your body to be able to repair itself appropriately, and not lead to injury as well. Okay, this isn't just for like muscle growth, but also for like physical therapy as well. We need to make sure that when we're going through the physical therapy process and the rehab process, we're breaking down muscle through different exercises. Okay, we need the body to be able to repair itself, to overcome this injury and prevent it from happening as well. So protein intake is super important. So if you're not tracking that, definitely go over, use about 7 to 10 days and track how much protein you're actually ingesting. I think it'll be a wake call for a lot of you. So make sure to take a look at that and make sure that's first and foremost where it needs to be. Okay. Second is sugar intake. All right. So there's really no dietary recommendations on this. I would just say minimize this as much as possible, because what sugar does, it's inflammatory. So it causes more inflammation, and inflammation causes pain. Okay. So it's going to make injuries feel worse than they actually are, and just promote that inflammation process. And we want to get that to calm down as much as possible, especially going through the rehab process. Okay. Third is water intake. Okay. If you're not getting enough water, your muscles are going to also feel a little bit more tight. Okay. And they're just going to feel a little bit more agitated. Okay. And then also your workouts won't be as intense as well, because you're not hydrated enough. Okay. One way to also one way to improve water intake is also, and water consumption is, yes, obviously drinking more water, but also another thing is minimizing diuretics. So diuretics are like caffeine is a diuretic. So minimizing, making sure you're not having multiple cups of coffee throughout the day. One's okay, like in the morning, that's okay. but you don't want to be having multiple cups of coffee throughout the day, because it's a diuretic and it's going to lead to decreased water consumption and excretion there as well. So, and then also you can talk all day about how it can impact sleep if it's taken um, too late in the day as well, but that's a topic for a different day. So hopefully it was helpful. Want to keep it short and sweet. There's a lot of other things with regards to nutrition that can contribute to injuries prolonging or in the rehab process taking longer. But these three things are low hanging fruit. These are the three things that you want to capitalize on before going in and focusing on other things. Okay, make sure that your routine's taken care of. Make sure that you're minimizing your sugar, and also make sure that your water intake is where it needs to be as well. Once you guys have that dialed in, then you can start focusing on some other areas that might need to be focused on as well. But start with those three. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know. You guys can put the questions in the comments below, and I can address them there. And if the questions warrant a longer explanation, I can definitely tackle that on next week's video as well. So also, if you guys have any questions that you would like individually addressed, you can put them in the comments or post in the group or message me privately as well. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.